Welcome back, and like I said, we have amazing esteemed guests here with us at the studio, and they are no other than the first, His Royal Chief Mene Ambassador Magnus Edo. He is the paramount ruler of Diewa village in Kano local government area of Rivers State and a conflict resolution expert. He is a social analyst, a CEO of the RSC Universal Resources. It is a pleasure to have you here with us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then we have an amazing second guest. He is Mosan Mufasa. He is a public affairs analyst and social commentator. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Chidima.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. And then, like I said, we have amazing topics for you here today. And the first is from Abia State. The former Abia State Commissioner for Information, John Okiyi Kalu, has accused Governor Alex Oti of politicizing insecurity. Kalu made this known on Monday while reacting to Governor Alex Oti's statement, accusing unpatriotic politicians and some external parties of being behind the current wave of violence and crime in the state. A statement issued by Kalu stated that Oti's government made self-indicting statements because he did not provide any shred of evidence to justify his hasty and ill-advised claim. He said, I stand on my word to say that it is actually the government of Alex Oti that is playing politics with the lives and property of the people of our dear state by failing to realize how unhelpful and crude its statement is in the quest for the search of solutions. He said, Mr. Governor, kindly take note of the following. Every preceding administration in Abia State faced multiple security challenges which were managed without attempting to politicize them. The leaders of those administrations understood that a crime is committed by a criminal whose ethnic, religious, and political affiliation, if any, are inconsequential. Working with constitutional recognized security agencies with the tools to passionately investigate crimes and the required socio-political neutralizes the best, and he says it provides solutions to the insecurity that the state has been facing. Mr. Oti expressed that most self-security challenges which is grappling with the state right now will be tackled without politicization, and Abia must end as the safest state in the southeast region, and it is also amongst the top three in Nigeria that has been noted to be the safest states. He urged Oti not to set up the states for crimes to strive through chasing political shadows, while the real criminals thrive and expand their operational territories within the state. We all know that insecurity issues right now in the country is caused by terrorists and bandits, and then we've been hearing, especially in the north, that nobody is safe. Farmers don't go to their farms anymore. They most times are scared to leave the house and go to certain places because of the state of insecurity. And then here in other states, we're also hearing the same thing, that it is a thing of concern. And this is coming from the former commissioner in Abia State, that he was directing the governor of Abia State not to politicize insecurity. Firstly, I would love to get your thoughts, His Royal Chief, about this statement coming from Kalu.
I think we are in democracy, and in democracy there is freedom of speech and freedom of expressions, and in democracy also we expect more of constructive criticisms from oppositions in any states, and that's strengthening the government in power to step up their games In summary of what Mr. Kalu have said, is also giving it back to the governor, Mr. Uti, to step up his game in ensuring that the lives and property is all that is coming to protect. He should do that with the premium interest in ensuring that the lives of the citizens in Abia State are protected. That is what I think he's also doing. And again, politicizing insecurity side by side, it is going to affect both the one against the governor and also the governor itself. So I don't see any need any individual should think about politicizing insecurity, because gun does not have recognitions of party B or party A. It goes straight to the head or backs of any human being. So for me, I think all hands should be on this when it comes to insecurity in any of our states, in any state in Nigeria. We should collaborate. They have suggested means and ways of how to handle insecurity in the state. And I think the governor is a listening governor. He should work hard to ensure that the lives and properties of people in Abia State are safe.
Thank you very much for that, His Royal Chief. I would love to hear from you, Mufasa. What is your thoughts about this?
Well, thank you very much. For me, I want to start by saying that securing lives and property is a primary responsibility of government. And if Governor Alex Oti understands that they're having insecurity issues in Abia State and, of course, some other states in the southeast, and he has actually applied an approach, I think, first of all, he has to be commended for doing so. I understand how we play politics with everything in this country. If the man in question has said that the governor is not even interested, in addressing the issues, I would have said, well, he's well within his right to do so, and, he has a right to call on the governor to be alive to his responsibility. Yeah. But now, he's bringing a political undertone to it, and that is where I have a quarrel with his position. I mean, he has been in government, he worked with the former administration, and there are certain things that were happening then, and I'm sure that these insecurity issues didn't start today. So for me, I would have expected him to say, okay, you are not doing, like you are not applying what should have been applied, in the fight against insecurity. Then these are the suggestions that I have to give. Perhaps maybe you have to now start talking about engaging, the locals, so that they can equally be part of the security architecture in the state. Mind you, security, they say, is the responsibility of everybody, even though we know the buck stops on the table of those in power. But let us not begin to play politics with everything. I'm aware Governor Alex Oti just recently, made a condemnation on the recent attack on security operatives where 2 soldiers were killed and some police officers. And so the people from Abia State, especially the political class, I think it is proper for them to, ease the tension a bit. If you have suggestions to give to the governor, so as so that the state can be safe, you can bring it forward. Like what the chief has said, we operate a democracy where we're all entitled to freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and even though we have that in place, we also understand that no freedom is absolute. So let us as a people see how we can collaborate with governments and ensure that we keep our environment safe, not just for us but for our relatives and friends and well-wishers. These are the only way that we can advance the fortune of government as a people.
Thank you very much. And from that thoughts, Mufasa. But quickly, His Royal Chief. So we hear about cases where they say that most of this terrorists that cause insecurity in the country as it stands, especially in the north. I think that was the narrative he was trying to refer to, that these people that cause this insecurity in the states are people that have been sponsored by unseen personalities.
I don't think so, because elected as the executive governor of Abia State and his tenure is for 4 years. So no matter anything, any oppositions think of making his government ungovernable cannot, you know. So it is an advice to politicians. When you think you are not corroborating with the current political party, which is your right, it's your right to belong to any political party. It is your right to criticize the government in power. It is also the right of the government in power to listen to the plight of the people, so that we can foster progress and development in our state. So it is common, political setting, a lot of things happens. Okay, so politicians, the insecurity is expressing. Why can't you go deeper and then call for Security Council meeting, and then you have the right to arrest?
As I said, we have freedom of speech. We should come to the realization where we come head to head with those Anambra states, coming from Anambra states, and we will go on a short break. When we return, in Abatete, our community is in turmoil, the eyewitness said. The second incident happened in Upo. The victim was identified as a motorcycle rider who also served as a member of the local vigilance. Were shooting indiscriminately and the rider was hit. I can't confirm if he was specifically targeted, another eyewitness stated. A police source confirmed that investigations into the incident have commenced, with efforts on the way to apprehend the perpetrators. The attacks come at a time when many believe the enforcement of the Monday sit-at-home order has declined in the state. This sit-at-home thing has been on and on for a long time, since the emanation of the Nnamdi Kanu do the Monday sit-at-home, and this is a situation where they have to go there. They make sure that every individual who does business does not open. But we have a case here where vigilante men were shot, and these are people, they are security personnel.
I have said it before and I'll say it again, that what we're experiencing today in the Southeast as a result of failure of leadership. We have a situation in our hands and we think it's around on a Monday, and this has been in existence for more than a year now, and they are still sustaining it. What does that tell you? It tells you that the government in place has completely disappointed the people. Because if the government continuously say that people should come out, because that's the case, you know, the government will come out, don't worry. So who is the person giving the order, and who are the people enforcing it? We had of cases where you know, trucks were attacked, you know, businesses were burned down, people were killed. So it's high time government, because it's beyond what the people can do. This is a vigilante group, indigenous who feel that they can equally try as much as they could to see how they can, you know, maintain law and order, because obviously the official channel to do that, being the police, the army, they have failed them. Now they have met the unfaithful end. So for me, governments in all the states of the Southeast should see how they can come together
take this process?
No, Monday in every setting is the beginning of the week, and then it's an economic starting of the week. I haven't spent your money at the weekend. Most of these people rely on their daily incomes, and you by force them to be indoor is inimical to the growth of our economy. It is against the Nigeria constitutions. It is against the government in the southeast states, and it's against humanity, because it is only government that has, after God, I think it should be government that, and in a soliciting forms, if you want to restrict movement, you give reasons why you want to restrict movement. Just like we have election day, normally in some states, taking people's life, it is against humanity. Unjustly, you just come out any day, you just kill people randomly. And the failure in this architecture, security architecture in Nigeria, is giving right to these non-actors to be in possession of firearms. For instance, how many policemen are there to protect lives and properties? If you have money, you can secure yourself. And how many police, as we speak, that is there to secure an individual, as person? It is, and I don't think any government, any constitution, any legislators are thinking towards that, because they are part of it. All politicians, you see them with 2 vans of policemen. So common people like us in the street don't have protection, and that's what is happening in the eastern states in their country. So I think the police, the security agencies generally, they should reduce the request of politicians and where to do individuals. If you are requesting for 10 policemen, they should have rules. We cannot give you 10. This other, we can give you 2, for instance, because it's our right to seek for protection. We can give you 2. Let this other 8 protect market women, protect people that are coming out doing their daily, looking for their daily bread.
Okay, so you're saying in the States?
Of course. How could you, for instance, you see one person, you see like 4 van of policemen escorting just one person. Maybe you want to go and take breakfast in a choice locations. 15 policemen attached to a particular person. What happened to the rest of the residents? So if there is any, because for instance, you see the information we are gathering saying that there was gun battle, sporadic shooting. It takes hours. No interventions. No intervention from whatsoever. Only what we are good to hear is statement coming from the Commissioner of Police. And I think the Commissioner of Police should be questions. Commissioner of Police in the eastern state should be questions. What is actually happening? Is it that the people there have overpowered them, or they lack wisdom, how to govern the people in that state? Because
assuming we even have like 3 or 4, just a handful, and you see these boys, these unknown gunmen or whatever they call themselves, when they come in their numbers. So obviously they would certainly overpower the few numbers of police officers that they know that will be on ground. And some of these officers might not even have the courage to stand up against this post. So most times what you see is that they abandon their post and they run away. So basically what I believe we should do as a people, as a country, in addition to what the state governor, because I will not exonerate them from the blame, because they are the ones that should provide logistics for the police, that's on ground. In addition to that, let the country see how we can force the military to go for election duties and all of that. But now we have a serious issue in our hands. The Southeast is at war, whether we accept it or not. And until we come to that realization as a people and do what is absolutely necessary, it will get to a point where people will find it very difficult to even want to go back home, especially those who come from that region. And that is what I don't pray it gets. Well, if it gets to that particular point, my sister, it's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, quickly, this sit-at-home order back and forth has affected the citizens of the state. And we see situations where they burn houses, they burn properties, they kill, like the situation. And we are talking about the economic situation of the country as it stands. And then most of these people that have been affected are commoners, market sellers. They are people that could barely feed, but they have small space where they manage for themselves and their families. And then we see this gunmen, this unknown gunmen in the States destroying their properties. You know, how do you think this will affect us, affect them in the States that barely cope with the situation already on ground in the country?
Well, that's why I said initially that these are misguided elements. You know, you don't set your house on fire just because you want to kill a rat. As we speak today, every Mondays, even kids don't go to school. Automatically, non-state actors have made Mondays to be completely useless in that region. And this is a region that are predominantly, merchants. They are known business people, business oriented, and you could imagine what Mondays is for people who do business. That is just even for them. Then let us also look at, because that stretch is a corridor where you can use to access other parts of the country. Within those period of time, people can even pass through those corridors. So these are the issues. Economically, educationally, you can mention every other facet of human endeavor that is affected. So for me, the sooner they realize that they are killing themselves by themselves, the better for them. Like I've said before, you don't set your ass on fire just because you want to kill a rat. You want to agitate, good and fine. But the ways and manner you go about it is very, very key in every agitation.
Thank you very much, Mufasa. Talking about education, we have from the Lagos State Council of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has advocated for legislation aimed at eradicating child labor in the country. The state NLC chairperson, Ms. Funmi Sese, made the appeal on Monday, saying that perpetrators of child labor should also be brought to book. Sese stressed that ensuring that children are educated would get them off the streets and guarantee their future. She said that NLC had made much efforts to tackle child labor through advocacy and reporting to the appropriate authorities, including the Federal Ministry of Labor. People should respect the law of the land, and perpetrators should receive severe punishment to serve as a deterrent to others who may want to use underage children for child labor. Sese therefore called on the government to transmit the Labor Standard Bill to the National Assembly without further delay. The National Assembly should also speedily pass the bill into law so that it will enable more actions against child labor. Then there will be definite and better prospects for the children and the youths. Government should also support parents or guardians and empower them to be gainfully employed so as to be able to train their children. This is coming from the NLC chairperson, Sese. I would love to get your thoughts about this. Here's Royal Chief.
I think we have enough law in this country, and a lot of acts, the African Charter and all that guarantees the right of a child, the right to education and all that. And then even we talk about the new millennium goal and all that. I think it should be one of the goal 4 thereabout. Talk about eradications of talk about poverty and all that. Like in my own case, practically. In my own community, Kwawa, in Kana local government, children knows that I can't see you outside during school hour and you don't answer me while you are not in school. And I think if all leaders should do that, those children that we are sending out to Cork and to do that, we do reduce in our communities. Because it starts from the community. Let's look at the family values. The family values. The law I'm expecting that you should give is that don't give birth to a child you cannot train. Some families don't care about training their children. It's all about.
I would love to cut you short on that. Yes. Are you saying that sometimes these parents? I know, there are some ways you can control childbearing, but you say don't give birth to children you cannot train.
Yes.
What do you mean in that instance?
Of course, it is it's the responsibility of parents to train up their children. But we have, when parents have failed, forget about the economic downtime, forget about the economic policy, It has been there, it will be there till tomorrow. It was there before I was born, it will be there till tomorrow. There's always hard time. But in as much as that, it is right. It is to be punished parents that failed to train their children. It should be a law and nature as God has kept them. How many of us are taking care of those are what we call legislative? I will not put it as their oversized functions of some legislators. Okay. Mostly in some states, like in Rivers State, that we have issues in our the people that we elect to represent us at the Rivers State House of Assembly. We have issue about them. Okay, but it is a social responsibility of every father to take care of the children.
Thank you. Let me hold your thoughts on that. Mufasa, we hear about parents sometimes. You see where kids hawk on the street. Sometimes I've seen situations where some kids have to sell before they go to school. It's not like the parents don't send them to school, but they have to make them sell before they go to school. And so most of the times the parents say, this is how we cope, this is how we feed, this is the way we have been going on with this, and if this child doesn't sell this product, we will not feed. What is your thoughts about situations like that?
You know what, I really do not support that kind of arrangement. You know, it doesn't matter what you think you do. I mean, as a parent, you know, to eke out a living for yourself, that time of the day the child is meant to be in school, and you said the child should go and sell something before the child now comes back and get ready for school. The purpose of even going to school has been defeated. That's why I quite agree with the royal chief when he said that parents should learn to give birth to kids that they can take care of. I mean, this is a different kind of generation that we are in. The generation of the past is not what we are experiencing today. Knowledge, to a large extent, has a whole lot to do in the upbringing of a child, and that is what's shaping society. We have a lot of issues in our hands as a result in security influenced, because they have impressionable minds. You know, any little thing can...
where they have to get punished. Parents having more than they can cater for, like you said. We see situations where most of these families are commoners, uneducated, that feel like childbearing is a way of making the name continue in the family. We have situations where I don't want my lineage to die off. So you see, let's say they have 5 daughters, and that particular family wants a male child, and they keep bearing children. How do you how do you control situations like that? You know, how, I don't know, do you think education should come in, or sensitization should come in?
I think aggressive family planning.
No matter the number of children you have,
yes,
you should be able to cater for them.
You cater for the children God has given it to you. I know it's God that gives. Like some women will say that, oh, God don't give me again. No, it's God that gives. Yes, it's good for God to give it to you. Also pray for God, and also try your best for you to cater for those children. It is the right of those children to be taken care of. Like in my own case, in my own community, which I'm advocating, we have the law, we have the traditional law that said if you did not marry the particular female, and you have a child with that child didn't bear your name. Okay, and because of that, some men have used that advantage and say, okay, since it's not bearing my name, I will not train you. It is illegal, and it should be condemnable by all human thinking, that a child you give birth to, either you bear your name or not, you should train them. And once you refuse to train them, there should be punishment for that. And if we will start identifying children, like as I'm doing in my own community, I have identified children that will be unable to ride WAEC. Let me know how many of them, and let's see how I can come in to assist. Okay? Because I discovered that so many of them, when you want to encourage them further, they will tell you, we did not ride WAEC. Silently, and nobody knows about it.
First thing first, we're talking about foundation. I'm really not interested in when the child gets to the age of attending university. The government can just simply make it compulsory. There are states who have made it compulsory, but I don't know how far they've been able to follow it through and through. Free and compulsory basic education. Okay. You know, that is the only way. So that the moment it has been implemented that a child has to be in school, whether the child has money or not, the government provide uniforms, provide books, provide tuition at the basic level, which is very, very important. Basic education, very important. Primary, secondary. Then after which the child then has attained the age of either 16, 17, the child can either go, acquire skills. Then the parent who can afford university education.
That is an amazing analysis, but we have to put heads together, and basic education should also be implemented in as much as child labor wants to be eradicated. Another story is coming from Benue State. The Benue State House of Assembly has approved the downward review of 2024 supplementary budget to the tune of 23.5 billion naira to help accommodate ongoing discussions and negotiations for the new minimum wage employees. The House gave the approval on Monday during a preliminary situation. The governor, in the correspondence sent to the speaker, which was read on the floor, sought for the review of the supplementary budget. According to the correspondence, the governor stated that the downward review of the supplementary budget will help ensure that the government remains financially responsible. It will also meet the legitimate expectations of workers who are struggling with the rising cost of living and will ease the implementation of the new minimum wage structure. The House also summoned all the chairmen of the 23 local governments and heads of revenue departments to appear before Friday. The resolution followed a motion by the chairman House Committee on Industry, Trade and Investment, Mr. Moses Obodo, who informed the lawmakers of their refusal to honor the invitation of the Joint Aid Committee on Finance and Industry, Trade and Investment, investigating the enforcement of the use of Benue sacks. Ibodo, in the motion, appealed to the House to invoke its powers to compel the local government chairmen and officials to appear. I don't know. I want to get your thoughts quickly from this, His Royal Chief.
I think the legislators, they are doing their duty, they are doing their job. As they elect them in Benue State to do their job, and then the complementary budget is not out of place. You know, it is commendable, but twisting it with minimum wage so that it will look like as if the government is doing something favor to the citizens. Is there? I start thinking, must you bring in something that the people will start saying, oh, it's because they want to implement the minimum wage. Go ahead and implement it for the governor. I don't think the undertone, I don't think, apart from the minimum wage.
But I also want to say here that no governor should try to want to reduce that benchmark, because the next thing they will tell you is what they get is not commensurate with the labor force and all of that. If there is a benchmark, if you know you can add, let it remain so. Because what they are trying to do, I don't understand. Perhaps they want to see how they can, play certain tricks and all of that. But then again, in Benue State, of course, they represent the people. And currently in this country, we know that even 70,000 naira is not even enough to cater for a family of 3. Judging by the current economic situation of things. So whatever they are doing, the interests and welfare of workers should be their priority. Whatever discussions they have, whatever review, whether upward or downward, the welfare, the interests of workers should be paramount. And that is what we want to see in government. Democracy is about the people. Like they said, a worker is deserving of his wages and salary. So for me, whatever review has to reflect the benchmark that is already set by the Nigerian law, that it must not go below 70,000 naira. And that is what we want to see in Benue State going forward. Okay.
There should be right implementation of the supplementary budget that has been put in place. But moving forward, we have amid criticism of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, the Ohaneze Ndigbo Youth Council Worldwide has also berated him over his comments on the nation's recent elections. Obasanjo, during the Chinua Achebe Leadership Forum held at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, USA, described the 2023 general election as a travesty. Obasanjo advocated the appointment of new and credible leaders for the independent National Electoral Commission with short tenure to prevent corruption and re-establish trust. He said, as a matter of urgency, we must make sure the INEC chairperson and his or her staff are thoroughly vetted. The former president noted that the vetting exercise should yield dispassionate, non-partisan actors with impeccable reputations. Reacting in a statement in Kaduna on Monday, the national president of Ohaneze Ndibo Youth Council Worldwide, Mazi Oku Nabrike, accused the former president of laying the foundation for flawed electoral system in the country. Nabrike said that the ex-leader actively institutionalized corruption in Nigeria, while also alleging that during the Obasanjo presidency, results were announced even as voters were in queues voting across Nigeria. This is something else. The Ohaneze youth added that go to court was popularized under Obasanjo's leadership, where all that mattered was for INEC to declare the president's preferred candidate winner, and those crying were expected to go to court. Now became wondering why Obasanjo did not initiate any meaningful electoral reform under his leadership, stressing that if he had done that instead of pursuing an inordinate third-term agenda, we wouldn't have been where we are today. According to Nabike, Nigerians have also not forgotten how the former president said openly, infamously, that even Jesus Christ cannot conduct a credible election in Nigeria. What has changed from 2010 when he made that statement, and now he called on the ex-president to stop his habit of always disparaging all the presidents that have ruled the country after his tenure. I don't know, quickly from the statement that the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, made a statement about the INEC processes about conducting election. Do you think that he was right in his statement, or he made false allegations?
I've always said that your view of the road changes when you move from, the driver's seat to the passenger seat.
Okay.
It's all about, perception. I may not want to fault the position of this group. I mean, they had liberty to interpret or perceive the position of the former president. But one thing I know for a fact is that Obasanjo, is a Nigerian who equally get to experience, the activities and effect of governance. He may have, one way or the other, not been able to, be the best of leaders during his time. But we are in another time. That is my position. What Obasanjo could not do during his time doesn't mean that the current president shouldn't do it.
Okay.
That is why when people come up with this argument that what did he do during his time, of course, he may not do what was expected, but he was able to achieve certain things. Now, what is this current administration doing? Because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president we know as at this particular material time. And what Obasanjo has said, you may like it, you may not like it, you may accept it, you may not accept it, he has said something very instructive, especially on the issue of the tenure of and reputation integrity of who is in charge of INEC. INEC is meant to be an independent umpire that oversees the recruitment of leaders in this country through election. But what we see today is a complete far cry, because the president selects who he feels should become the INEC chairman. Of course, that has always been the tradition. The president formed INEC. Then you now begin to see INEC start recruiting party agents to work as ad hoc staffs. So are you expecting to get a process exercise that is flawless? He has made a suggestion, and for me that suggestion is valid. After your election, pack your load and go. One time after election, after all the processes, pack pack your load and go. Let INEC be run as like the way you run the civil service. After you have conducted an election, you don't sit down there and expect to do another election, because the amount of time you stay there for that too long, you could be easily influenced. Already we are saying that even the process bringing who heads INEC, it's not really, it doesn't fit well with a lot of people because of how we think as a people, politically and otherwise. So for me, don't condemn both the message and the messenger. You may not like the messenger, but let us look at the message and see what we can make out of it as a people going forward.
In essence, from what the former president Olusegun Obasanjo said, he made a statement.
You know, there could be things that could be deduced from it and used to
what he has said. His royal chief, I would love to get your thoughts on that.
With due respect to our elder statesman and former president of this our dear country, Nigeria. For me, I don't like people that forget history so soon. Remember when the former president, late president Musa Yar'Adua came into office, he said that the electoral process that brought him was corrupt. That he came into power through an illegal means of electing him into office. He admitted that. And who was in office then was the former president that is talking today, that was to do electoral reform and ensure that the electoral processes are genuine and the means of electing persons into offices are through the electoral means, not by appointment. He's talking about the tenureship of INEC chairman. He knows very well that this thing must undergo electoral, it must undergo legislative processes, because there are laws that empowers these people to do certain things. It needs to be review our constitutions. It's not something that can be done overnight, or the executive power of the Mr. President. There are some certain areas he cannot. The INEC chairman has a tenure of 4 years. He has the rules enshrined in our own constitutions. The people that are to be responsible to be appointed as INEC chairman, they have their responsibilities. They have criteria that you must meet. If you do not meet those criteria, you cannot be appointed. So if he's talking about appointment, if he's talking about tenureship, that we reduce their tenureship, this message should be forwarded back to the Constitutional Review Committee. That look at it during your constitutional review. I am thinking that if you can do this, and people we have public hearing on this and debate about it. It's not about making the statement. It's about how the statement will affect lives and properties of this country. And again, I have advocated that former president should have a forum like we do. We have forum of group chats forum. Make your suggestion to the forum. Continue to make suggestions to Nigerians. Not only when you have the opportunity to talk, you will condemn the government in power, forgetting that when you were there, you did not see all these things. You did not see all these things, because if you want to look at what has happened before, privatizing our commonwealth during his tenure, we talk about some issue, even in the Niger Delta here, we talk about what happened in Udi under his watch. And if somebody is bringing it up now that the elder statesman, look at what you did, it look as if you are not respecting the elder statesman. But for me, there's no respect about truth. The truth should be told. What he's advocating for is the right thing. For me to say that is the right thing, but he knows that he must pass through some legal means for it to become a model that we use.
Thank you very much, His Royal Chief. So in essence, Olusegun Obasanjo made the right statement, and thank you very much. But this is where we call it a day on this beautiful Tuesday. And thank you for your amazing analysis on the stories that we had today. Please stay with us. Open conversation come up next.
my people are on the sea. I will place economic stability and confidence. The consensus are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the people access to our money in charge. As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome. What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea. I will place economic stability and confidence. The consensus are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the people access to our money in charge. As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome. What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea. I will place economic stability and confidence. The consensus are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the people access to our money in charge. As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome. What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea. I will place economic stability and confidence. The consensus are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the people access to our money in charge. As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome. What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea. I will place economic stability and